probably a good background, but
Sure.
we'll figure this out.
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. Yeah.
All right. What is going on, Predators? It is Travis and Dean here. We are with Mr. Chris here from the C&E Custom Outdoors Equipment. So we're going to talk to these guys today, or this guy here. Unfortunately, his cohort elves couldn't make it, the E in C&E, but we got C here. And we're going to talk about some outdoors gear, hopefully talk about some arrow builds, because I know I just bought a bunch of arrows. I know Dean is looking always to buy more arrows to add to his bucket. You can see behind him there. Anyways, guys, we're just going to shoot the breeze with it and talk about some fun stories and good gear. And yeah, so with that, what's going on, Chris? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. I appreciate the call. I saw y'all saw us at TAC, right? Or
That's right. Yeah.
With our nice UFOC
shirts. I'm telling you, I immediately looked it up. I'm like, one, I want to know who you guys were, and second, I wanted to buy one of those shirts. So I was like, that looked very much more comfortable than what I was wearing.
So, do y'all listen to any fishing podcasts?
I don't.
A little bit.
Okay, so there's a guy. His name's Carrie. He runs the Salty Yak. It's a saltwater kayak-based thing with the podcast. And he actually had those shirts made for us because there's a big group of us that also kayak fish.
Oh, nice.
Went together.
Nice. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got started, where you're located.
So Elvis and I work together. We work our day jobs together. We're piping fabricators. And we just, you eat lunch with the same guy 5 days a week. You end up talking. We both kayak fish. We both bow hunt. We kind of started hanging out together and doing those things together. Started the podcast, a couple months ago, and then it just kind of evolved. Like, hey, I was already cleaning fishing reels and stuff on the side, and we were buying stuff, and we were like, hey, if you buy this, I'll buy this. As far as building arrows and stuff,
yeah.
And we just kind of were like, all right, screw it, let's do this. Let's get the company. We're working on getting our LLC, getting all the insurance and everything perfect. So right now we're just doing more family and friends as far as working on the bows, but we'll build arrows for anybody.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we're located, so we work out of a small shop, very small shop. We're the smallest bow shop in Texas with the biggest experience. But we're in Van Vleck, Texas, which if a lot of people aren't going to know where Van Vleck is, or Bay City for that matter, which is the bigger town around it.
Yeah.
But it's in Matagorda County. Anybody knows Matagorda, they know fishing. We're a few minutes from the bay, but that's where we do most of our work from.
That's some great duck hunting down there too.
Fantastic duck hunting.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier today about kind of getting off on these tangents and, started, muzzle loading and rifle hunting, and then got into archery and fly fishing. And I finally was talking to my wife. I'm like, look, this is it. Like 2 years ago, I thought I'm going to narrow this down and get really good at two things. And the rest of it I'll still do, but it's not going to be a priority anymore. And duck hunting is one of them. And I love coming down to Winnie and Bay City and just hammering them.
There's some good duck and some good dove hunting right around there.
Is it really? Yeah. Yes. We got this past year was just, I don't know how you guys did, but this past year was just terrible. The year before was like Vietnam. I mean, we just hammered them. So I don't know if the freeze or what happened to them this year, but it was just terrible. But anyway, well, so thanks again for coming on and how you guys do that. So what's generally the process? I know we kind of talked a little bit on the phone, and you really wanted people to come in, or can they just phone an order in? Like
we prefer people to come in, because after everything's said and done, we want to put you shooting at target 20 yards, and we want to slow-mo that video because we want to see if there's anything coming off, any slight deflection coming off the bow. But mainly what we're going to do is you're going to send me, like what you did, you're going to send me your bow, what bow you got, your draw length, your draw weight, all your specifics, and I'm going to plug it into a program I got on the computer. So I use Pinwheel software. Some people use Archer's Advantage. There's different ones. I'm going to plug that in, and depending on what kind of arrow you want, that's where we're going to base our build off. So every time, that's where we base our build. Now, I can get you 90%, 99% of the way there just using that software. And I can send you a arrow that's going to work for you 9 times out of 10 with, maybe some slight tweaking. Some bows, they like a super stiff arrow. Some bows, they don't. So that's where we want people to come in. That's where your center shot may be perfect. We're looking at something, its shooting is deflecting a little bit left. Maybe it's something as small as we need to rotate your nock a little bit to clear cables, or maybe it's something that's not flying right. Let's add a nocturnal to the back so we can add more weight to the back, stiffen up the spine a little bit, or let's take some weight off the front, or vice versa. We put more weight on the front. Maybe it's deflecting the wrong way. Plus, when you come in, we can shoot you through paper and get your bow set perfect. So we're not a big fan of tuning your bow to your arrow. We want to tune your arrow to your bow. Now, if you have the capabilities, if you have a press, we got a press. We have all the capabilities of tinkering with our bows. So we can tune our bows to our arrows. But most people, most guys don't have that ability. So we send you an arrow that's going to be tuned to you and your bow. But face pressure, where your anchor, all that stuff makes a slight difference. So like I said, we can get you 90% of the way there. That last 10 is where face pressure might come in, the way you grip your bow. It could be anything. And that's where we'd rather you come in once we build it.
That's something we've talked about, man. We've talked about that before. It's like, I want my gear to be so dialed in that if a mistake happens, I know that it was me. Like, exactly. I yanked the shot, or I did something wrong. I want to have that confidence knowing that this thing is 100% dialed in, and that every little thing any mistake that happens is due to see me doing something. So
exactly. And when you come in, Elvis is more of a mechanical guy. So he's the one that's going to nail down really your bow. I'm the one that's going to watch you shoot through paper. I'm the one that's going to say, all right, pull off your face a little bit, or squeeze with your shoulders. I'm more of your form guy. So between the two of us going back and forth, form and bow, we can get you within a 30-second of being perfect.
That's nice, man. That's a great asset, because as far as I know, we got really nice bow shops up here, but and they do they get you close, right? And which is really nice. But I've never had anybody do what you're saying, and before you walk out of the door, you are leveled up to where you can walk out, and to Travis's point, it's you. Like, at that point, it's not your gear anymore. That's a awesome way to kind of conduct business.
So being a smaller shop, that's what we pride ourselves in. We pride you walking out knowing 100% you and your bow are in tune together. That bow is tuned to you, because that's other things too. We're not just going to check your timing. We're going to check everything, right? And sometimes you may need your bottom cam to fire off a little faster than your top cam. That may be how you shoot. That may be how the bow acts, right? Those little things. That's why we say the biggest experience, littlest shop, biggest experience, is because when you walk out, we want you to 100% say, if I have a problem with this bow, I'm just coming back. Or when I buy a new bow, I'm coming back to these guys. We're not big enough to stock bows yet. We're not big enough to stock pretty much anything. Everything we get, we order. But it's the experience that we're trying to use to set ourselves apart from everybody else.
And how is it like kind of appointment only? I know you all have normal day jobs. Is it it's Saturday? You're done.
Okay. It's Friday through Sunday, and it's by appointment.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure that you get the personalized service that you're coming to us for. We don't just want to say, hey, we're open, and 5 guys show up, and we don't have the time to take everybody through their steps. We had a group of guys show up. It was 4 of them. And between the 2 of us, it took us 6-7 hours, but we knew that going in. We had these guys and their friends. We were all friends. It was a big group of our friends. So everybody knew going in, all right, this is going to take a while, but each one of them got their personalized service. Each one of them got their turn. All right, it's Carrie's turn. All right, now it's Six's turn. Now it's Ryan's turn. Now it's Brian's turn. Everybody got their turn, and everybody got what they needed. Everybody came with a goal to accomplish, and we accomplished that goal before everybody left.
And do you have arrows? Everything is there at your shop? You said, or do you have to order that in?
So you can order your arrows, or we can order your arrows.
Okay.
Being on the field staff, or you can order from whoever you'd like, and we'll get it for you. We'll build it. We'll build whatever you want. Like I said, because we're on the field staff, we tend to push Sirius a little more, just because we can help you out with the price. But we've built, I think the last build we did was 4mm axis and Orion's 250 spines.
I just got some of the Apollos in. Oh, sorry, the Orions, and then I have a set of Apollos. And where I'm sitting at after TAC is I'm still debating. I'm trying to put some coins away because I want to get another bow and have kind of one for the TAC setup, antelope, right, type deal, and then my triax. I'm switching over to the EZV sight because I know that anytime I'm in a stand or a blind, my furthest shot maybe will be 30 yards, right? So that's where I'm coming in with that hammer that we had talked about.
Have you shot together the EZV sight?
I have, and I took it to TAC last year, and I tried it in Colorado, and it humbled me very quickly after 50 yards.
I love the sight.
I couldn't do it.
I love the sight. I love the construction. I love the concept. I loved everything about it. I could not get this centered. My vertical was fine. My horizontal was off, which is opposite of apparently what everyone else does.
Yeah.
But I shot it for 6 months and I just couldn't do it. And I loved it and I regretted selling it. But man, that thing, the concept of being metal and plastic and nothing breaking is phenomenal for a backcountry bow hunter.
Yeah. And I like it, the fact that there's no ranging. I think that was cool. Anybody has target panic, I can 100% see how that could take care of that for you. I talked to Aaron because of my bow speed and draw is very slow. It is what it is. I'm blessed with short arms and there's nothing I can do about it, and that's fine.
Blessed.
Yeah. Blessed. Yeah. I didn't make it sound good. Right.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. And so none of his inserts fit my chrono. And so I talked to him about it. I was like, hey, look, here's where I'm at. I'm going to build some hammers, and told him what I was going to do with it. He said, surprisingly, I should go up to like a 250 insert because the weight of the arrow will compensate for that. And so I need to switch it out for that 250 and go out and try and see, if that's legit or not. Cause I do want to keep that set up for, again, like pigs, whitetail, anything close range, and then get another one that's for a distance tack or antelope, elk, whatever shot.
So I'm going to ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
Why are you going lighter for antelope? I understand tack, but why antelope? Why are you going lighter for an animal?
Well, they're smaller, one. And I think after talking, we had Trail on here and talked to him kind of about the average shot on it. And I think what he'd say, Travis, like 40 or 50 yards was kind of an average shot. And that's for him. And so I'm going into it thinking it's going to be a 60 or 70 yard shot on basically a small animal. So I wanted more flatter trajectory with a bit more speed is my thought process.
So what I tell people and what we've been seeing is if you could buy one gun to shoot everything in North America, elk down, what are you buying?
Probably 30-06, I guess,
So why are you building a 30-06 arrow for everything and a 223 for antelope?
I don't know. Like I said, in my head, it just makes more sense to have a more flatter distance trajectory.
I haven't put too much thought into a specific antelope arrow, but I think the part of the thought process is I've seen, whitetail deer, especially here in Central Texas, I had a deer with a 70-pound bow and a 400 grain arrow drop the string and duck perfectly placed shot at 32 yards. And so I'm thinking with, the reason they call antelope speed goats is that, they move really fast, they accelerate real fast. And so the odds, it seems like, anyways, I could be wrong. But it seems like having a faster arrow for a smaller animal like that you reduce the area of spread where, like, so if you're aiming, here on the antelope, by the time he moves, it could be over here, right? So you're reducing that area of spread so that you basically there's going to be a flatter trajectory, and it's going to be moving quicker within a smaller area whenever he starts moving, if he jumps that shot.
So do you think the animal's jumping the string, or do you think the animal's jumping the noise of the arrow in flight?
I would
Depends
say,
on how close you are.
Yeah. I would say flight.
The heavier your arrow is, the quieter your bow is. I'm sure y'all have noticed that.
Right.
So y'all know Troy Fowler.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
knows him.
Yeah.
Everybody hears his name and instantly thinks 650, 700 grains is what you need, right? Troy has a video out there. And then when he did an interview with us, he mentioned it again. 550 grains. Between 500 and 550 grains is kind of the sweet spot where you still get good trajectory, but you have the weight to shoot anything. So I shoot 550 grains. I pull 75 pounds and 30 inches, and I shoot right at 550. I got 20% FOC. That arrow's never not gone through anything. Even when I shot my Z7 Magnum, which is a much slower bow than what I have now, and it was only at 70 pounds, I was at 525, and I went lengthways through a ram. So y'all just went on a big ram hunt, right?
Yep.
I have a painted, he's hanging up there, but I have a painted desert, and he turned, it went in his chest and out his ham and another 15 yards past it. So
wow.
My suggestion, even for antelope, is go heaviest with the trajectory you're comfortable with. So if it's 400 grains, then go 400 grains. But if you get to practicing, you notice that heavier, more front heavy arrows at longer distances fly better. So you don't have as much drop at a long distance as you would with a 400 grain arrow. So suddenly 600 grains at 60 yards isn't so crazy. And you have a pin for that. And
so the concept is that the head is pulling the arrow, and
it's like throwing a dart.
Yeah. So you don't have as much wiggle on the tail end, right?
Now,
because I totally believe in all of that.
You've got to have the fletching to make that happen too, though.
Sure.
So you've got, there's a point where the head's going to overtake the fletching, but it needs to be 80, 90 yards. You can't let your head can't overtake your fletching at 40 yards, because then nothing's going to fly right. So a lot of it depends on your fletching, and a lot of it depends on your head profile. If you're shooting like a two blade, all your heads need to be lined up the same. So every time you put your arrow on your bow, all of them need to be sitting the same, along with your spine alignment. So if you're knock-tuned and one of your blades is sitting here and one of them sitting here, they're all taken off different ways. You're never going to be as accurate.
Right. And what?
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Travis.
I was just saying, I think it's kind of interesting too, because me and Dean are in pretty different worlds. And I think you're kind of more in my boat, where it's I shoot a 80-pound bow, and it's like, I think whenever you're getting that fast, it's rated at 345 or 347 or something like that.
You shoot the new prime, right?
Yeah, and I think at some point it's like I almost get a flexibility in that, where I've got so much energy coming out of the bow and out of the arrow that, that I could go down to something faster. Like I would never probably I could never see myself going below like 470, 480. I think that was what my tack arrows were, or one of my sets of arrows was for tack this year. And like I say, I think those are cooking at 290 something. Was it 297 or something, Dean, or 289 or something like that? I can't remember this. Lots happened.
You use a slider sight, or you use a regular 3-pin?
I'm using a 2-pin slider, the Tommy Hog.
So I got the Spot Hog, the Fast Eddie with Ultra View scope, and my 554. I think it was 554 is what I went to tack with, and I had no problem reaching out to 120.
Yeah.
It's
Last year at tack, I shot a 580 grain VAP SS. Yeah. And that hang time was 70-pound bow back then. It was a 580 grain arrow. And like that on the prime course, that moose that was out there, man, it was literally just like pin, bubble up, and then just launch it. Man.
But the thump it makes.
Yeah.
The thump it makes, it makes everybody kind of like, oh, what is that guy shooting?
Yeah.
And the hang time too, watching that arc. Slowly, it hit, man. And like I said, it's like, I think, but like I say, on the other hand, Dean is, what do you say? It's you're 65 pounds and 26 inch. Yeah. So yeah, I think to some point it's like, you kind of got to, it's like, where do you make that up? You know what I mean? Like, do you make that up by just training harder and getting a heavier bow, heavier draw weight, or do you train better by, because at some point in time, like I say, the speed of it does make a difference. Obviously, it's not number one, right? We all agree on that, I think.
Yep.
But like, do you train harder to get closer to the animal before you make that shot, so that if you're firing a 600 grain arrow, are you trying to lead the animal? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
So if I was to show, I don't have this issue. I'm 6'4", so I've never had the short arm issue. I actually probably shoot a shorter draw length than I should.
Yeah.
But if I was to do it, I would build an arrow 7.5 to 8 grains a pound per draw weight. So high 4s, low 5s. And if I was like you, where I had a shorter draw length, obviously I'm not going to have the power. I would go with something like a 3-blade, like a 3-blade VPA, or maybe even a 2-blade, like a iron wheel. I don't know if I'd have to go single bevel necessarily with like an antelope, but I would definitely want to go. I like 4 blades myself, but I'm not a fan of the tooth of the arrow. We had some deflection issues with them. Yeah. Where it hit bone. Yeah, y'all have some of those too, huh?
Yep.
So
we actually are gonna go hopefully the first week of June on a pig hunt, because that's one of them I want to try. So we talked
fly phenomenal. I shot them last year out to 95 yards, and they were grouping, I think, 3 inches below my field tips, which makes sense.
Yep.
But we have deflection issues. It's a 90 degree on top, right?
Yeah,
it's 290 degrees on top. So if you're not hitting perfectly, it has deflection issues, which for us, we're picky. I say we're picky. I just went back to my slick tricks. Yeah, my slick trick mags have blown through everything.
Slick tricks were the very first ones I ever shot. So I shot slick tricks, and then I went to some Muzzy MX3s after that, like when I first started bow hunting.
Yeah.
So,
and they work.
That's what I would say. I would say go as heavy as your trajectory. I'd go as heavy as an acceptable trajectory. So if at 500 grains you have an acceptable trajectory, go 500 grains. If it's not acceptable to you, back it off. But I would make sure you have a good fixed head, something longer, and especially being a slower draw weight or a lower draw length, I would have something longer, like a VPA 3-blade. Something longer, something fixed, something that has a little more mechanical advantage, not necessarily the tooth of the arrow, but like I said, the VPA.
What do you think about Troy's new 200 grain broadhead? What do you think about that?
The 3-blade?
Yeah.
So if I get drawn for Nile Guy this year, I'm going to be running it on the front of a 740 grain arrow.
Nice.
I already got the build ready.
Nice. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm not a big fan of mechanicals, and I know some people use mechanicals for antelope, and it's really in my head. I want to eliminate any variable possible and of them not opening or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure they all work, but I just try to eliminate any variables in my own brain before I go. And I just don't want that hanging in my head. Like, is it really going to open? Is it not going to open? I don't know. So I'm a fixed blade guy. I do have iron wheels. I picked up some day 6s. I just wanted to try those. And of course, tooth of the arrow. And I've been thinking about getting a single bevel. And for whatever reason, when I got Troy's test kit, my bow liked 125 up front. And so I wanted to get a 125 single bevel and play with one of those too, whenever I find one that I like.
So while I'm a proponent of heavier arrows and lots of structural integrity, I do think mechanicals have their place. I did a full-blown Ashby build. It was 656 grains, like 24% FOC. Shot now that Z7 Magnum, and I had a 150 grain Schwacker. It was a 3-inch cut. It was massive, and I shot it at a deer at 20 yards to see what it would do, and it was like a hatchet wound through there, man. So you're close to here. You know what Bar X is. I do a little hunting at Bar X every now and then, and
nice.
Excuse me.
I lost you.
lawsuit.
sorry about that.
There you
Wrong
go.
buttons. Wrong
Yeah.
buttons. I had to
We
call
got
you
a
that.
cool. That was the coolest
Sorry
sounding
about
cough
that.
I've ever heard of, man.
I just figured that was your Bar X chiming in like, hell yeah, you mentioned this on a podcast, man.
Sorry about
Special
that.
theme song playing.
But
yeah.
so it's basically a country neighborhood where you can hunt deer with a bow.
Yeah.
Everybody sits on an acre or more, and I mean, a good, well-placed mechanical has its place because that thing is going to hemorrhage before it gets to your neighbors in 300 yards.
Yeah.
So I do think they have their place, especially if you're going to do a longer distance shot on something like an antelope and you have the ability. Now, being a short draw guy, I probably wouldn't do it, but if you shooting 80 pounds decided to shoot a sever at 60, 70 yards, I mean, it's going to fly better.
Yeah, I'm not 100% against mechanicals, but my thing is that if I'm going to have something with deploying blades on it, they've got to be stout. Because I mean, I've shot a couple of mechanicals in time, and I've had both of them that I shot break off inside an animal, and one of them was a Rage Trypan, and then the other one was the Spitfire. It was the NAP Spitfire double cross, and pieces breaking off of them and stuff. And that's why I started going more towards the single bevel, or even just, I've got a couple of fixed heads. I shot that Ram with the ATAC from Trophy Taker, and like I said, great, the great broadheads and everything. My problem is like I say, if I'm gonna use a mechanical broadhead, I want it to have really stout blades on it.
The only mechanical I really use now is a sever.
Yeah.
The sever titanium.
Yeah.
I need to order some of those. It was also another thing I heard on your podcast. You talked about their targets too.
It is a great target.
Is it? I was gonna.
It's expensive, and you can occasionally find them on Blim. I just got a Morel, one of the dice high rollers, so I'm seeing kind of how they compare. But being is that the sever is a rectangle, you can put the long side towards you and get less penetration.
They work well with broadheads.
The only thing I've ever blown through it is we consistently hit the center, and I put a single bevel and it blew right through it. But that's been one out of hundreds of shots.
Gotcha.
That the arrow's actually gone completely through. Now I've run to the fletching a couple times.
Yeah.
So, but overall, it's a good target.
I've got some those crafted archery arrow one broadheads, man, and do those things like it's a pretty wicked bevel on there, man. It's a single bevel, but it was going all the way through the target. There was actually kind of a pain in the ass to get out of the target because it twisted all the way through the target, which is a mean ass wound channel. But then trying to get them out, I'm like pull.
Yeah, sometimes it's better just to unscrew the broadhead and pull the shaft out.
Well, it made it far enough into the target that I just pushed it through the other way, screwed it off, and then pulled the arrow out. So yeah.
So do y'all clock your arrows? Have you clocked your bows?
I thought about doing it. I watched a lot of videos and stuff on it because I don't have a whole lot of experience with it. And my ultimate conclusion is that I think it was Paige Pierce made a really good video on it. She showed that out of, I think it was 2 different bows, she had the same bow shoot an arrow 2 different ways. So it can clock left and right out of the same bow. So it's kind of one of those things, like if you really want to go through all that trouble, like, hey man, that's your kind of thing. But I think if I can get arrow leaving the bow good, if I can get the arrow flying through the air good, that I think that the fletchings, with the good fletching on there, especially if you're using a helical, it's going to overcome any kind of minor turn that the bow could put in that arrow from the string being twisted a certain direction. That's what I've kind of seen.
So we've done it. We've clocked both our bows. We did it more because we need to be able to tell people, oh, this is the effect that we had on our bows. If somebody comes in and asks us, well, should I clock my arrows? I'm not going to tell you yes or no. I'm going to tell you that I did mine, and it seems, and it may just be a placebo effect, that at 20 yards, I had tighter groups. Past 20, it didn't really matter. But at 20, it seemed, and we're in Texas, right? That's the majority of our shots.
Yep.
I seem to have slightly tighter broadhead groups. It could have been a placebo effect, absolutely. But we as C&E needed to do that so that we could tell y'all that.
Yeah.
Did you find did y'all run the same strings or different strings?
So gas, A3, and zebra strings have all clock left for us.
Interesting.
out of a left and right-handed bow.
Wow.
What helical are you shooting, or are you offset? Or are you using on your fletches?
There you go.
6-3 Arizona Easy Flex.
Arizona, yeah.
We have found that you can shoot a little flatter at farther distances with 4 fletch at maybe a 2-degree helical. But at the end of the day, I wanted something that I could take to camp. And if I didn't want to have to take my bits, I didn't want to take my bits and burger. I didn't want to have to take, a boning tower. I could take that easy fletch and I can slam 3 in there. Boom.
Hey, I got you one up though, man, and I got to do it because
Easy fletch.
There's So Easy Veins, you can get your discount code here, 10% plus 2 veins. Link in the description below. I've started using those things, man, because like for me, I've been shooting out into target practice and stuff in my dad's place, and I can't take all the gear in the world with me. I'm not like Chris. I can't bring it. Or with a friend, Chris brings like 6 totes everywhere he goes. But, it's you, Chris, too. Yeah. But anyways, I could just I could actually have a pack of them here. I just got these on there. If I get one off, I can just run my knife out there, pop it off. And then I just slide that on there. There we go. Slide that on. So
how do they stick? Do you heat shrink them, or are they just like rubbery?
No, they're just they got a kind of a pressure fit on there because they're made to the size of the shaft, and so you just basically slide it on there. And some of them I found that basically because I've ordered some that were like intentionally ordered some that were too small, accidentally ordered some that were too small for my shafts, and they were tight enough where I didn't have to put any glue on them. But for the ones that are properly sized, basically what I do is I just let's see if I got one here. I'm knocking everything over. Yeah, basically what I'll do is I'll slide them to about where I need it, and I'll kind of mark it, pull it up just a little bit, put this tiny little bead of glue, and slide it back down, and then it's good to go. I put these through some targets at TAC and put it through a tree branch, and they're perfectly fine. So, anyways, I'm a big fan because I've tried it and I liked it. I've tried the Zinger Fletches. I've tried the Max Stealth. I've tinkered probably more with Fletches than just about anything out there. The only thing I couldn't do was like a 6-degree helical because I didn't have the thing. Yeah, and those weren't bad, but they popped off even if I prepped the shafts and everything, they still popped off.
These are the hybrids. So I can get that right.
Oh, the hybrid. Oh, okay.
The hybrid 26. Yeah. So it's a Max Stealth without the Max plastic.
Yeah, that might stick better too.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems with them so far. I'm just starting to use the new Serious glue, and it's really tough, but it's very watery. You have to be careful when you're using it.
Oh yeah.
But so that's what we use. I use a longer vein than Elvis does. Elvis uses a 225 TAC vein, which is what I used at TAC actually. It's a shorter vein, but even if you have the mini or the mini max, you can still get almost a 6-degree helical.
I think you should look into these, man. Give us some. I have some here. If I ever run into you guys down there, I'll just give you these to try out because
definitely gonna have to try those.
These with the whole entire thing weighs 16 grains, 20 grains, depending on you get a 3 fletch or a 4 fletch. So each of the I know the Max Stealth because I just remember those numbers. They're like 5 grains a piece. I think on the. No, sorry, they're 9 a piece.
Nine.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the boning was the heat veins. I was saying they're about like 6. Then like I say, those are 9 a piece. So like I say, being like 16 to 20 grains for the whole thing, and basically having a wrap on there. I mean,
can you get those in different weights?
Yeah. So I have a standard kind of hunting version of it, and then they've got a ultralight kind of target version. I think these are the ultralights here. Yeah, it's backwards for you, but
I jumped from vein to vein to vein. The reason I went from the TAC veins I was using, which let's see if I can. There it is. The pink all the way to this side. Those are TAC vein 225s. These are the hybrids. The reason I went to the hybrids on this one is because I lengthened my arrow back. So I went from I had these cut for TAC at 28 1/4. And so I was very close to my rest. These are cut back at 29. So I had to add more weight on the back to help stiffen the spine. so that I could keep my weight up front the same. That's why I asked. So sometimes we play with fletching. If you got a certain build you want and you have a certain arrow you want, but say they don't make a spine, like they don't make a 225 spine.
Yeah.
Which would be phenomenal if somebody made it, or 230 or 240. But so I have to take my unless I want to go up to 200.
They got 235, the VAP TKO.
Yeah. Man, I didn't. I like the SS VAPs. I didn't like the TKO.
Yeah. I had them both. I love the SS, man. Those things are just freaking
SS
tanks.
is what I shot before I got the Sirius. Before I got with the Sirius. I like the component system with Sirius a little better.
I use mostly ethic stuff anyway. So
yeah, I don't like the aluminum. So we bent a few aluminum collars at TAC. So I had to go back to stainless, which means my insert is not as long because I had a full length insert with the aluminum collar, but it is what it is.
I like the aluminum. Ethics has like the aluminum insert and then the stainless steel outsert. I do weird stuff where I actually take, once I build my arrow and I stick the field tip in there and I stick have the collar on there and everything, that I go and I actually polish it to like a mirror finish. I don't know, it's just a weird thing I do, but I feel like it gives it a little bit more less drag coefficient, I guess. It can go slide through the target.
Confidence is 90% of the game, man.
Yeah. Plus, man, they just bling. I mean,
hey, since you
we all match colors and stuff.
We all, yeah.
Hey, since you did it, I'll do it. The blingiest field points are from Sirius.
Yeah. Well, and you kill more deer for mats too. So like,
you got to, man. If you don't look good, you don't feel good. If you don't feel good, you don't shoot good.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but no, they the Easy Veins thing, they offer them in like 6 different configurations. Like you can do 3 fletch, 4 fletch, and basically you can do any custom helical with it. So you can do a 1 degree, a 2 degree, a 3 degree, 4 degrees, 5 degree, whatever. And I'm actually working with them too, because I had a great idea that I found by accident, and maybe I'm giving the secret away here, but I found that I had ordered some new arrows. I ordered the 235 spine VAP TKOs, but I had already placed an order because I was kind of on the fence whether I needed a 300 or a 235 spine. I ended up going with 235, but I had already ordered the Easy Veins for the 300, right? Well, it was a lot tighter fit because obviously the OD, the outside diameter of the arrow on the 235 is a lot thicker. And so whenever I slid those on there, it was a tight fit. I could see them giving a little bit of flex and everything on there. But what I found is once I slid it down the arrow shaft, let's see if I can demonstrate with one of these without dropping everything, is that I could actually, I don't even think this one's glued on, right? But anyway, I can actually twist it and I can do kind of like a variable helical. So I've got it straight right there, and then I can actually twist it and get it up to like a 6 degree helical. And I was telling him, I was like, dude, that would be really cool, because then you could make like a test kit for somebody that's trying to test out different helicals of veins, and you could have, say, like, put a little gauge on the back, like I want to twist it here when the fletches match up here, that's a 3 degree, or this is a 6 degree or whatever. And I think that'd be a really cool idea to be able to test out, see how your arrows fly with different helicals on them.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I like that. That's a cool concept. I'm definitely going to check that out if they come out with that.
I was telling Dean earlier that tried to do a podcast, tried to get Ryan Lange from Buck Commander on, but he had some technical issues and stuff like that. But like I say, I've always been a big on like just always tinkering with everything, and I see stuff and I'm like, man, I can make that myself. I could probably do it, or
Yeah.
So I've started like 3D printing my own gear and stuff. And
so before we bought the Easy Press, we built 2 presses at work.
Right on.
Nice. And they were great. Nice. I mean, they were substantially heavier because we made them out of actual, square tubing, not what they use. So they were great. They work good. The Easy Press works better.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. We actually were talking to yesterday. We had just a whim podcast with our buddy that hunts with us, and he was talking about getting the Easy Press as well. So I'm glad you like it, because he's been looking at it.
We got that in the draw board with it. We're about to get a second Easy Press soon. We got saws. We got everything. We got the whole gambit,
the whole thing,
the whole setup, paper tuning and everything.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely want to come down. I'll call you and get some time and
Of course,
swing
man. Just
down.
come on
I
down. We'll
think
take care of you.
that'd be fantastic. It'd be a great experience. It'd be great to meet you guys, and so I'm definitely in. So on to your elks. You're going 2023. Where are you guys going?
Originally, it was going to be Colorado.
Okay.
The more we kind of look at it, a buddy of ours, Joel Smith, he came down to the shop. We were working on his bow, and he was like, "Man, do you want to go bull hunting or do you want elk meat?" And I was like, I'm large. I want to eat. He said, "Go to Utah, get a cow spike tag, and go to town." He said, "There's less people." So we've been really looking hard at Utah lately. So it may be Utah.
Okay. We've been the last couple of years. We go to Utah as well, up in the Uintas, and it's been great. It's been a learning experience. Every year we go, we learn something, more and more. I've never been to Colorado, so I don't know what the pressure's like. But the first year we went, we had no idea what was doing, right? Didn't e-scout. We just was like, hey, we can figure this out. We've been hunting. We can do this, which was a mistake. But but when we got up there, it was still warm enough, and there were still like campers, people riding 4-wheelers around. We're like, we're not gonna see shit, like there's just no way. And we went, probably up a little over 10,000 feet. And I mean, we didn't see anything. Last year was great. We went to a completely different spot. There wasn't that many people. So much better experience.
So he's told us he's hunted both, and where he goes, if he's by himself, he doesn't see another person, but he sees all the elk in the world.
Nice.
It's just about getting close enough and getting a cow or a spike out of, cut off.
Yeah. I've heard that in Utah. I heard that the Ashley National Forest actually has a lot higher odds and a larger herd of elk than the Uintas, and that's something I've been kind of looking at. Is where to go. I've been looking at Craig, Colorado, and then like I say, I've also been looking at like I say, Uintas, and also in the Ashley National Forest. I've heard there's in Utah at least, that's like the largest herd of elk there is in the Ashley. So I don't know.
And is that over the counter tags there too?
That's what I need to research more into that. I just started looking into Utah after you guys said y'all are going there. I was like, oh man.
And I'm trying to figure out where Kerry he's been doing most of the research for us. And but where he's at, the unit he's looking at, it takes on average like 3 years to pull a deer tag too.
Wow.
So, pull a deer tag on that third year and you go shoot a cow, elk, and a deer.
Sure.
I mean, why not, right?
That's a great week, man.
And then they have tack right there in Utah. So you
Yeah.
can kind of, let's take a scouting trip and go shoot tack.
100%. 100%. Are you guys going? Are you gonna go next year?
Possibly next year. Yeah, it's in the works. It's definitely in the works.
Where else did you go this year, or have you gone anywhere else besides?
This is the first time any of us have been to tack. So we've been trying to go for the last 3 years. Me and Elvis, and COVID and everything else just kind of shut it down. So work, being pipe fitters, we work in refineries, and when things shut down, you work.
Right. Yeah.
My dad actually used to own a company out there. Tipsco.
Yeah.
My dad actually used to own that company. I worked out there in the shop, working the pipe and stuff like that. I worked with the fitters. Yeah. That's rough work, man.
Yeah, it's
God bless you.
It's hard, but it pays the bills.
That's right.
Does, man.
That's right. And now you're doing this, and it's fun, right?
Yeah. This is just fun.
Another reason to look forward to a weekend.
That's
right.
That's right.
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
tell us about this. I heard that you had a pretty crazy hunt, or you were just talking about that before the show started. Something about getting chased by something. Is that Dean? Were you talking about that?
No,
I'm getting my people mixed up now. Okay,
I think that's Ryan was.
Was it Ryan?
That mountain lion. He was elk hunting in I think it was Utah. Oh, okay. And he had heard like a mountain lion, thought it was far away, and he said he caught a flicker of a tail or something in his peripheral vision when he's watching this elk, and he looked over, and that damn mountain lion was sitting 8 yards away from him, staring at him, and so he spooked him away. The elk comes in, he's within 8 yards. The video's crazy. 8 yards away, he's at full draw. It doesn't release. He lets him meander off and then hits him broadside at 40, never adjusted the pin, just kept them, and launched an arrow and just dropped them. It was awesome. And I was like, I can't wait to ask him about that story, because I don't know that I could have not launched at 8 yards. I would have been like, you're done. This release is going off whether I want it to or not.
Yeah.
So
Quickly ducked behind the tree.
yes,
exactly.
Yeah. It was crazy. Just crazy. I mean, we've seen moose up there. Every time I go, I've seen moose up there, but have not run across any elk. Tons of sign. We laugh about it. We're like, we're in the right neighborhood, wrong cul-de-sac every time we go, but that's okay. We're going to keep going back, and we're going to hammer one. So
it's fun, right? The experience.
100%. Yeah.
So do y'all spike camp, or do y'all base camp? How do y'all do it? Backpack?
We backpacked in. Yep. And found a base camp and then meandered around. We tried to stay within about 3 miles of our base camp. Last year, the weather came in. We was only supposed to, when we checked the weather before we went, it was like one day that was supposed to be like 40% chance of rain. I mean, it seemed like we were there about 4 hours, and it just blew in and just wiped us out. Storm. Then it snowed at night. I mean, everything you could possibly happen with weather happened. And then we could just not get away from the wind. We'd go up to glass, and the wind would change. We'd pack up and walk around the other side, and the wind would change. It was just constantly, moving the whole time. So it was, again, great experience, but it was just rough trying to battle what God's plan was. So
speaking of packs, did y'all see Kafar's sale?
Yeah. Did you try to get on their website to get anything?
Yeah, it took me 18 hours.
Yeah.
I got a 357 mag bag. So.
Good for you.
Nice.
Good for you. Yeah, I luckily I had ordered. I ran with the Reckoning I picked up for this coming year, because last year I ran the Eastern Ruck, I think. And I literally looked like a homeless person. Everything was just hanging off the sides. I mean, it was just like, it was just brutal. And I just like, forget, I'm never going to do that again. I'm just going to invest in a bigger pack, and it is what it is. But I wanted to get that base camp bag. And I was like,
spike camp, you just drop it.
And it was 45 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need it that bad. I'm done.
How do you sleep? What's your sleeping system?
I use a MSR tent. And I've got Badlands 15-degree bag, and then I've got a air mattress looking, pad that I blow up. And that, we talked about that too Sunday. I think it was, for last year, it was perfect because we had the snow and the rain, and there's a little vestibule. I'm a little guy, so I was perfectly fine. Chris, who's probably 6'2", was in the exact same setup and just didn't have a whole lot of room. So he's going to run a tarp this year in a bivvy, which I think is a great idea. I looked at Stone Glaciers, but again, in the back of my head, I'm thinking if we have the same weather, it's going to be, miserable. So
have y'all considered hammocks?
The first year I went, I took a hammock, and I probably would not do that again.
Really? I love
only because the weather. When it got cold at night, I was freezing.
So I'm putting together a war bonnet, Blackbird. I sounded country as hell there. Blackbird, but with a Yeti quilt underneath.
Okay.
So if it gets cold, Elvis keeps calling me a bearito. He's like, you're gonna go up to bear, and you're gonna be hanging a giant meat-filled sack. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, well. If it's my time, it's my time. But I love, I'm 6'4", 350. I am a large guy.
Wow.
There's nothing more comfortable to me than a hammock. I have a summer hammock, and then I have that war bonnet system that I'm putting together for that kind of camping.
I kind of want to get a picture of you two next to each other now, because Dean's like 5'7", and you're almost a foot taller than him now.
I'm a larger sized man.
I was like, I wouldn't be able to pack your arrows in, man. Like, But I think it's a great idea. Like I said, I just think that I tried it once and I froze, and you know what? For 5 ounces or whatever that tent cost, I'm willing to pack that 5 ounces in there to get a good night's sleep. So,
and I think it's because I sleep in hammocks anyways.
Yeah.
I can sleep in a hammock 100 degrees or 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Put me in a hammock and I'm out.
Yeah.
I
I
got
think
a
it's a
nice,
great idea. I think it's a great idea.
I got a nice bare butt double hammock, and I think it's been pretty nice. I've had it for 6 years now or something like that, and I just use it all the time. Throw it up in the backyard. I throw it up, we go camping and stuff like that. Acts as a great chair too. Just strap it between two trees wherever you're sitting. You can throw a pad down on the inside of it, and so you can throw a quilt on top of that pad. But yeah, you're kind of. I mean, it's reality. Like, say, are you really any more safe in a small thin tent than you are in a hammock? I mean, it's the same thing.
It's we that really. We didn't even consider any of that stuff. I think where we were at, I think they even had a sighting of a black bear. We didn't even care about the black bears, to be honest with you. Our bigger concern was mountain lions. And the more we thought about it, we're like, man, we're 3 grown men. I mean, unless we get split up or something weird happens, it really never crossed our mind. But as a joke, when it did thunderstorm and just blew in on us, we put all the food in one of our buddies' tents because he's the only one that had a pistol with him. So we're like, at least we've got time to run away while you're shooting this cat.
So you don't carry even when you hunt in Texas?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think we went pig hunting. You lost your audio, Travis. We went pig hunting, and we did have a shotgun with slugs in it, I think, as a backup. But for the most part, we just had our bows, and that was it. So
yeah, I used to carry a 357 with me on the side, but it became one of those things where it's like, depending on what property I'm on, even like say public land and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't really.
I have a Glock 29, the little compact 10 millimeter. Mm-hmm. It's small enough to where I don't mind packing it. Mm-hmm. It's security for me. It's like a nice little security blanket.
Well, it's 6'4" and 350 pounds. You can't even feel that thing.
Yes,
yeah. I can hide a full size 1911.
It's like your wallet.
Yeah, that little Glock ain't nothing.
Right. It's like a Swiss Army knife,
Yeah. I've been known to hide some large items on my body.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I thought for a long time I wanted to get a 10 mil intake with me, but we fly up there just because of work and time constraints. And like, that's just one more thing I got to worry about. And what?
That's tough.
My buddy lives there, he's got his. So like I said, that's out of sight, out of mind, I'll deal with it if it happens. And, but we never had any issues.
I think Utah has reciprocity laws with Texas, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. It wouldn't be a big deal, but like I said, just the whole, TSA and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to, I just don't want to mess with it. Yeah. I
got some arrows coming in soon, Chris. I'm gonna have to bring them down to you. I started testing out again. I'm always tinkering with stuff, and Crafted Archery started selling arrows. I need to find out from the guy, Daniel Craft out there in Australia. I want to find out, who makes the arrows for him or what the process is or whatever. But they look pretty good, pretty cheap carbon shafts. They're still, I think, like 0.003 or 0.001 straightness, and he's sending me a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to bring that. I'm going to bring my all my gear out to you. I have to get you to build these things for me. Show me the process.
So this, I just sent you that in the studio chat. I don't know if you can share that to the screen.
Yeah. Let's see.
That code will give anybody shopping at Sirius, with the exception of Ranch Fairy stuff and Tough Heads, that'll give you 10% discount.
Oh, nice. Thanks, man.
So that's part of the Field Staff family and friends code.
So I got you one while we got you on the phone. We were having this discussion at TAC, and because we all tinker and build our own stuff. Oh, yeah. What is your thought on hot melt, cold melt, Cirrus epoxy, Gorilla Glue for your insert? Like, where do you sit in that realm?
I think hot melt is great for target arrows, target bows. You're going to want to always tinker within 5 to 10 grains on those target bows. If you're tinkering, period, if you're just testing, like you're doing the Ranch Fairy test kit, hot melt is a great tool for that, because you can pull, boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. I just got the Sirius epoxy and the Fletchcrete with the little Field Staff kit. It's the first time I've used their glue. So I've been an AAE, Max Bond, and Max Insert guy. Serious archery stuff's tough. The Fletchcrete is very watery. It's something like I've never used before. They give you like a Q-tip, basically. and you dip the Q-tip in there. It's water, and you run along the vein, and don't let it get on you. And don't leave it very long in the clamp. That stuff sets quick and it sets tough. It's been pretty tough so far.
I say for the times that you do get it on you, they've got this that stuff that Bob Smith Industries makes a good debonder. You can literally just spray it on your fingers.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some of that.
From experience. Yeah,
I'm gonna need some of that right away.
Yeah, look at the debonder; it's great stuff, man. It smells like a dead cat, but
yeah. The epoxy, from what I've seen, I like that it has a longer working time. Yeah, you probably got 30 minutes to where you can still kind of twist your insert as far as tuning it. Because so once we put an insert in, if there's any kind of out hanging out, not like a 246, you have a little bit hanging out of a standard insert. If you're using half outs or outserts, you're going to want to spin your arrow with it in there and mark it. Make sure there's no wobble. So you have that 20, 30 minutes to where you can kind of still grab it and turn it a little bit, spin it. Okay, it's perfect. And then, make sure everything's good. It's been solid so far. I haven't shot anything too hard with it yet. I'm kind of, I just got the new stainless collars in. So I've got those 3 built that I'm going to test, and I'm going to try to put them through something heavy. I don't know necessarily what yet. I'm not a big fan of shooting cinder blocks because I don't hunt cinder blocks. Right. So like tree maybe, because I occasionally miss and hunt trees.
Yeah.
But that's about all I'll shoot. So we'll see how it does. If I can't pull it out, that was the one thing with the max impact. If I really got down on it, again, big guy, right? So if I grab it and yank with all my weight, I've got a lot of weight behind me, I could sometimes pull the insert out. I didn't like that.
Gotcha.
But that was the best glue I'd seen so far. So right now it's working pretty good. But other than that,
we're at Dean's place there. I know we're shooting some arrows, and I was testing different hot melts and everything. I had like 4 different types of hot melt, and one of the ones I was trying was the blue cool melt that they make, that Boning makes. And I lost 2 Ethics archery inserts inside of his bag targets from that. So they are not all created equul for sure, man. Yeah.
And don't
knowing that there's.
Yeah, don't tell them I cut that bag open, and so they're in my kit.
It's $40 for those 2 things.
Right. They're on eBay as we speak.
Yeah, but like I said, it's cool knowing that there's an epoxy that has that long of a set time, because that's always been my complaint. It's like, well, I have no way to tinker now. It's like it's set, it's done. Sorry, go get the drill bit, throw it in there, and try to knock it out.
Oh yeah. So it's a 2-part epoxy. So you squirt it out and you mix it up a little bit, and you've got a little bit of set time.
Yeah. It smells like going into a woman's place, getting their hair done. It literally, I picked it up and I laid it on the table and left and came back, and our whole house smelled like it was a beauty salon.
So it was the office we have in the back where my wife lets me work on stuff. It tends to smell pretty bad in here.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you fletch arrows up, so I occasionally fletch arrows up just for fun. I have not found anything that really works other than the Boning Fletch Tight, the blue. It's kind of jelly. Okay. The platinum, that's really the only thing I've found.
I like that. The Goat Tough is pretty good too.
I used Goat Tough for a long time. The only thing I don't like about Goat Tough is when it goes bad and nothing sticks.
Oh, gotcha.
So when you hit the end of that shelf life, it's the end of its shelf life. You can't kind of squirt some more on there. No, it's done.
It's done. Yeah. And I use their fletching jig too. It's been okay. It's been okay. I've heard nothing but great things about the Arizona. I do not have one of those, but I got the Boning, and
I've got a Boning one. I got the Arizona. I got the couple of the Easy Fletch there. And
everybody likes these. And you can see mine's white, right? From glue. I've used this. You can replace the arms. So this was originally a right helical. I replaced it with a left. I left it in the sink in acetone, in a cup full of acetone, trying to clean it up. And my wife put it in the dishwasher. Because she didn't really know any better. Right. I might start putting this thing in the dishwasher more often, because the glue turned white and it was brittle, and I just ran a fingernail and it was clean. And I was like, hey, nice. You may have come up with an idea there.
Perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Well, I got to wrap it up, guys. But man, I appreciate you coming on, Chris. We'll have to do this again sometime. And,
yeah, man, it was certainly fun.
Yeah, man. And like I say, I appreciate you being here. And like I say, I'll definitely be coming and seeing you to get those whenever I get all those arrow components in. I'll come see you to get it all built up, man. We'll schedule that time.
we're going to be doing an
I'll give you a
interview.
call too. I'll give you a call and tee something up way before August, because I'd love to get a set to take with me out there. So
Definitely. That's my number on the email. So y'all can just call me whenever, shoot me a text.
Okay.
We're going to be doing an interview within the next week or so with A3 archery strings. So he mentioned something about saying maybe a discount or something for the listeners. So y'all may want to tune in for there. And we're going to be talking to Sirius later this week. So if y'all want to take a listen there,
give it a shout out so our listeners know where to chime in at, and Instagram or any other handles you got, man.
We are the Horrible Outdoorsmen on the podcast. I am the Horrible Outdoorsman on Instagram. That's where the name came from, because who expects a 6'4", 350-pound guy to be a bow hunter and a kayak fisherman, honestly. And then Elvis is ERC Outdoors. He also has a YouTube page. And then the Horrible Outdoorsman YouTube page has like podcasts and stuff like that.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man. It was a great conversation. Learned a lot.
Of course. This is fun.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Predators, for tuning in. And guys, check out the discount code that he put up there in the chat. What was that for again? It was for
Sirius, anything from Sirius Archery other than Tough Heads and the Ranch Fairy Kit, I believe.
Perfect. So check that out, guys. And like I said, you get your easy vans and everything if you want to help support his channel. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep defying the odds.